Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Glaive Keo back at it again with another banger video talking about how Hoyoverse is exploiting their biggest creators and creating this illusion of loyalty and using that to, I believe, influence the decisions that they're making across their gameplay, across their business decisions, that sort of thing. And as we've seen from situations like with Romero, which is, who's obviously featured over here, that was a bit of a sticky situation. And so maybe this type of logic is going to be extrapolated and applied in a good way to some of the Western CCs and some of their decisions when it comes to the games that they're playing on Twitch. So with that, I'm excited to see how Glaive's grown in the past couple of weeks, and I'm excited to see how his content is getting, a little bit more wide. We've gone from attacking Wuwa's haters to attacking the source of Wuwa's haters, Hoyoverse themselves.
One of Japan's biggest gaming content creators just exposed Hoyoverse for their treatment of official creators. And
why does he sound like one of those like YouTube Shorts guys? One of Japan's biggest creators just ma.
And let me tell you, it's not pretty. Neromero isn't just any content creator. With over 550,000 subscribers, he is one of the biggest names in the Japanese gaming scene. From the early days of Genshin Impact, he has been a cornerstone of the community, offering gameplay guides, engaging discussions, and humor that brought players together. But despite his undeniable influence and loyalty, Hoyoverse staff consistently treated him poorly.
So it looks like Glaive has done his research. He's taken a lot from what we see in the Ryukyu Sensei video and has provided not any additional context, but just enough so that his audience knows what is going on. So great job there. I don't think he got anything wrong with his breakdown of all this stuff.
Dismissive communication to outright ignoring him when he reached out for clarity, the red flags were everywhere. And then came the breaking point. Neromero was kicked out of the official creator program without any warning, without any explanation.
They just flat out kicked him out. No word, no nothing at all.
Imagine
I see where he got his info from. Reliable source for sure.
pouring your heart into something for years, only to be cast aside without even a conversation. It felt like being ghosted by someone you thought you had a strong connection with. Eventually, thanks to community support and a fellow content creator, Neromero managed to re-enter the program, but even then, things didn't improve. Despite being one of the biggest names in the space, he was repeatedly left out of key events and denied early access privileges.
We're about a minute and 13 seconds in. It looks like the context goes until 2:20. He's been spot on about pretty much everything.
That ironically were handed out to similar creators. And then came the moment, the final straw. After streaming Wuthering Waves, Hoyoverse staff immediately reached out to him. Their message was clear: please do not do that. Now legally, they couldn't stop him. There was no contract, no clause binding him, but the subtext was obvious. It's either loyalty or exile. And after years of mistreatment, miscommunication, and being sidelined, Neromero decided to leave the creator program entirely. And for the first time,
So think about it this way. Imagine that a company has basically been like dangling this carrot in front of you the entire time, right? Kind of like motivating you to move forward, keep making content about the game. Oh, if you're just a good little boy, we'll eventually let you back into the program and give you all of these special privileges. Just keep making content for us. Keep being a good boy. And then the second you show, even when you're getting no privileges, that you're about to play another game or that you're about to enjoy another game, they start lording it over you. What's going on? Oh boy, what a company.
He spoke out openly, honestly, and without fear. This isn't just a story about one creator, it's about how it feels to be devalued. Despite years of loyalty and hard work, the exhaustion of giving so much and receiving so little in return, watching others get the opportunities you were denied, despite being on the same stage. And at the end, the relief of finally cutting ties and realizing that you can speak your mind without walking on eggshells. But this isn't just Nerumero's story. It's not just about one content creator being mistreated by a company. It's a symptom of a bigger problem, one that stretches across the entire gacha and gaming industry. At the core of this issue lies a fundamental truth about how Hoyoverse and many large gaming companies operate. They prioritize brand control and public perception above meaningful relationships with their content creators. It's not about fostering partnerships or mutual growth, it's about maintaining absolute control over their image and maximizing profit while minimizing risk and cost. The relationship between Hoyoverse and its creators often feels transactional and
very true. Isn't it? We hear a lot about how there are like these situations where there are CCs that are and aren't getting early access. And there are some CCs in the Hoyo space, some previously very, very big ones that basically quit content creation. That quit, they took hiatuses, they took breaks because they didn't get the early access that they knew was going to be essential to actually pushing out videos and having success on YouTube. In a space where they didn't have the early access before, it was a lot more competitive. People were able to make their day one guides. People were able to basically put in effort on the early release of the character and be competitive if they were able to work fast, if they were able to prioritize their resources. And now all of that is out the window because if somebody has early access, they're going to be working on the vid a week earlier than you can. And that means they can take their sweet ass time. They can take their time doing research, doing all of these things, figuring out the mechanics of character kits. And now you have a situation where somebody literally can't do that, where it doesn't matter what's going on in their effort, in what they're actually putting into the content, because somebody's just going to be able to push out something faster. And in all honesty, probably something better because you're working on a time crunch. You're working on a rush to try to push that out as soon as you can, knowing that you don't have the luxury of time. And having that ability to pinpoint who basically gets to succeed in the space is diabolical, especially when they're doing it across a bunch of games.
And even then, it's a one-sided transaction where creators shoulder most of the risk while Hoyoverse reaps the rewards. By not having formal contracts with many creators, Hoyoverse avoids any legal or financial responsibility toward them. Creators aren't promised consistent compensation, resources, or even respect. They're just tools for marketing. If something goes wrong, Hoyoverse can cut ties immediately with no strings attached, leaving creators out in the cold. Free advertisement, minimal cost.
We know a couple of creators who have been left out in the cold, and it's not a fun experience for them to have your guide videos one day be like getting 100, 200, 300k views, and then the next they're getting like 50, 75 for the same amount of effort put in. And the only difference is whether or not you got early access. Awesome.
Every video, every live stream, every post about their games is free advertising for Hoyoverse. While smaller creators might get some minor perks, big creators like Nerumero, who drive thousands of viewers and sales, are often left with nothing in return. In short, they expect loyalty and effort without offering stability or reward in return. This approach isn't accidental, it's deliberate cost-cutting disguised as community engagement. Now let's address the elephant in the room, Wuthering Waves.
Pause.
Waves. Why did Hoyoverse react immediately when Nerumero streamed it? They ghost him.
You're really living up to your name right now. He makes ton of money off YouTube, even without bringing in the Hoyo Club though. Maybe you could try formulating a single sentence properly first. What the fuck are you even saying here? The argument is too one-sided. I hope English isn't your first language. If that's the case, it's fine. You do realize that this is a sponsor situation where you're basically getting kicked out for no reason. You're not being told why. And so you don't know what you did wrong or what to improve. And so you're just saying that doesn't matter because he makes money off YouTube. How does making money off YouTube suddenly make what Hoyo is doing okay? Just because he's able to sustain himself in other means, it's okay for him to just get fucked in other ways? What? That's literally not how it works.
For months when he asked about why he was kicked out of the official creator program. So why did they react so fast to this one? It's because of audience overlap. Both games are gacha focused, open world RPGs. Hence the overlap between their audience is massive. A major creator like Nerumero openly enjoying Wuthering Waves poses a direct threat to Hoyoverse's player retention. And for a massive company like Hoyoverse, acknowledging the competition equals acknowledging weakness. By asking Nerumero to not stream Wuthering Waves, Hoyoverse is essentially admitting that Wuthering Waves is a legitimate competitor. They fear that players, especially those who—
Whoa, he's up to date on the deep lore. This video by Cosmos basically encapsulates so much of what makes Wuwa 2.0 just miles ahead a better game than Genshin 5.3. It's not even close to a competition.
Are already dissatisfied. We'll see creators having fun with a different game and think, why am I still sticking around here? Instead of improving their relationship with creators or addressing underlying underlying issues in their game, Hoyoverse's response was reactive and defensive. It wasn't about understanding why Nerumero wanted to explore other games.
Wouldn't this have been better? Hey, Narumero, we're seeing that you're starting to express interest in Wuthering Waves, and we really want you to play Genshin instead. Here's a bonus for you streaming Genshin Impact content. We're gonna give you XYZ benefits if you keep on playing Genshin Impact. Instead, they basically threatened his relationship with the company to get him to stop playing Wuthering Waves instead. They went for negative reinforcement instead of positive reinforcement. You know what ended up happening? Bro just said, fuck you, and now he has a Kuro game sponsorship for Wuthering Waves 2.0. He just said, fuck you, Hoyoverse. I am going to go to Kuro Games instead, and now he has a sponsorship for 2.0, and it's probably going to be one of the best career moves Narumeru has ever made. I have nothing to say except get fucked.
It was about silencing the perceived threat. This kind of reaction isn't about fostering loyalty, it's about controlling the narrative and maintaining their grip on public perception. Here's the harsh reality. Hoyoverse wants creators to be loyal, but refuses to be loyal in return. They expect creators to stick by their side, promoting their game, and keep their audiences engaged even if it comes at a personal or financial cost to the creator. But when creators need support, resources, or even just basic respect, they are often met with silence or dismissal. True partnerships are built on trust and mutual benefit, but Hoyoverse operates on control. They would rather have a creator who follows their every directive, regardless of whether it aligns with their creative vision, than one who thinks independently. The reason why companies fear creators like Nerumero speaking out is simple. Creators have power. They have platforms, audiences, and credibility. And when those creators start telling the truth, companies lose their ability to control the narrative. This paradox isn't sustainable. Hoyoverse wants unwavering loyalty from their creators, but they refuse to build an environment where that loyalty feels earned or reciprocated.
I will say, Glaive, I understand the point you're trying to make, but holy fuck, man, I think you've said it like 30 times by now. I legitimately think you might have said the same exact point like 30 times now. I'm not even joking. Brother, it's an 11-minute video. You need 8 minutes to run mid-rolls. Maybe cut out at least 3 or 4 of these. You made the point.
Hoyoverse's treatment of Nerumero is a reflection of a broader strategy. Maximize profit, minimize risk, and control the narrative at any cost. It's not about partnership. It's not about loyalty. It's about control. Now, this is where things get messy. Because while gaming companies hold significant power over creators, there's another group with almost equal grip on their careers: the audience. In gaming communities, particularly in spaces like Genshin Impact or even Wuthering Waves, there's an almost cult-like loyalty that develops among certain players. Fans become fiercely defensive of not just the game itself, but the company behind it. If you have spent any time in these online spaces, you've seen it firsthand.
You guys remember the Wuthering Waves 2.0 livestream? How there were literally Hoyo shills invading the chat to go in and force spoilers into the chat for the Wuthering Waves 2.0 patch. They were just spamming every single story spoiler they could into the live stream. What a bunch of ding-dongs. Oh, but Wuthering Waves, it's just gotcha victim mentality, guys. There's nobody that hates this game for real.
Someone points out a genuine flaw in the game, and suddenly they're accused of being a hater or a fake fan. A creator criticizes a poor decision made by the developers, and their comment section is just flooded with people telling them to just quit the game if you hate it so much, or let's just play Love in Deep Space. And heaven forbid a creator dares to play or praise a competing game, because now they are a traitor. For some fans, loving the game becomes synonymous with loving the company. Any criticism, no matter how constructive, is seen as a personal attack. But why does this happen? It comes down to emotional investment. These players have poured time, money, and passion into the game. They have formed friendships, memories, and even parts of their identity around it. So
that's called the sunk cost fallacy of no return, ladies and gentlemen. So many people think about how long they have played Genshin Impact and think about how much money they've poured into their accounts. I would be devastated if I had a C6 Yalan and she's now useless in the nation of Natlan because every other character explores better than she does, and I C6'd her because her exploration was the best in the game. That's a W corporate moment for Hoyoverse, but holy shit, that's just fucking all your players in the process.
So when someone points out a flaw or expresses dissatisfaction, it feels deeply personal, almost like an attack on them. But here's the problem. This behavior doesn't just stay in the comment section, it actively harms creators. Creators are terrified of
What's going on, buddy? What's going on, buddy? Why are you in my channel, Glaive? Why are you auditing my videos, Glaive? Looks like you learned a thing or two from Fobmaster, didn't you, buddy? You learned a thing or two from the guy you were feuding with. Maybe he taught you some of his tips and tricks, huh, buddy?
Setting their audiences. One wrong move, one poorly received opinion, and suddenly their livelihood is at risk. Imagine being Nerumero. Years of loyalty, years of creating content, and
That video had like a 98% like ratio. Huh?
yet the moment he streamed Wuthering Waves, there were people in his community accusing him of betrayal. It's exhausting, it's unfair, and it's deeply unsustainable. The expectation that creators must unconditionally love and defend the game, the company they cover, is absurd. They are people, not PR spokesmen. And yet these expectations persist, hanging over creators like a sword ready to drop. But there's another layer to this dynamic, one that is perhaps the most sinister of all: the implied threat of financial ruin. When creators dedicate their platform to a single game, when their audience, their growth, and their income become entirely dependent on one title, they fall into an incredibly precarious position. And here's the harsh truth: companies knows this, fans knows this, Hoyoverse knows this. It creates a toxic power dynamic where both parties can essentially say, if you leave this game, your career will die. If you criticize this game, your audience will turn on you. If you play something else, you won't be able to pay your bills.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, to all of those people bitching and moaning in the comment section,
Oh, why does Saint have to do content that's not strictly Wuwa guides?
it's so that this doesn't happen, you idiots. You do realize that diversification for a content creator into a lot of different types of content is quite literally the best thing that they can do. And so, with your childish demands that,
Oh, why does he make so much drama content?
there's a reason why I have blocked so many of you from my channels, because you genuinely have no fucking clue how YouTube and YouTube careers and like financials in the content creation space work. You are quite literally trying to tell me to pigeonhole myself into a specific type of content because your stupid ass can't just not click on the videos you don't want to see. Your lack of self-control and your inability to click off a video is driving you to try and make me indebted to a single game in particular. And it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. No, you're not my daddy, okay? I'm not your dog. I'm not going to listen to you. If you like my guides, you like my guides. If you don't like the drama content, or honestly the commentary content I do, then don't watch the fucking video. Stop bitching about it in the comments. If you do, I'm just gonna be honest, the next time I see somebody bitching and moaning about a video like this, you're just gonna get blocked. Get off my channel, you bum. You don't understand how any of this works. Go fuck off and go somewhere else.
For creators, the fear of stepping out of line becomes paralyzing, even when they know that they're being mistreated. Even when they know they're being taken advantage of, they feel trapped. And this isn't just about Hoyoverse. It's everywhere. It's the way the gaming industry has conditioned both creators and audiences to believe that loyalty to a single game or a company is the only way to success. Creators are stuck in the middle, walking a tightrope above an audience that can turn on them in an instant, and a company that can discard them without hesitation.
Guess what, guys? Your contract, whatever, right? With a company, anything. In that situation, the contract holder pretty much has most of the power all the time. And they could just decide, right? Oh, we don't like this one video you uploaded. Oh, we don't like this one bit of content you're doing. And they can just go ahead and decide not to sponsor you anymore. And if that sponsorship was the way that you were making most of your livelihood, right? That's probably not a great position for yourself to be in. Because now you can't make certain content on certain things. Now you're really limited in potentially some of the things that you can do. And people have to keep that in mind.
It's an impossible position to maintain forever. And yet, so many creators keep walking that road, terrified of what waits for them if they fall. This isn't sustainable. It's not fair. And it's not something we can keep ignoring. At some point, something has to change. Because if it doesn't, the cycle will just repeat itself. Every creator will eventually face their own.
This is so true. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Nerumero moment. And when that happens, we will have to ask ourselves, was this inevitable or could it have been avoided? After everything we have talked about, the mistreatment of Nerumero, the illusion of official content creator programs, the relentless grip of corporate control, and the unshakable loyalty of certain audiences, the question remains, can this actually change? Will companies like Hoyoverse and others in industry learn to treat their creators with respect,
Well, now they are going to, because we literally just saw what happened with Wuthering Waves 2.0 and Meru. They literally poached him. Well, he wasn't even under contract anyway, so it's not really even poaching. But bro got fucking taken. He got swooped up by Kuro Games. And now this dude is literally having the time of his fucking life playing 2.0. And they're just like, damn. 5.3 really sucks balls in comparison. How are we going to retain our players if we don't have the threat of legal action or financial ruin? Oh man, maybe we need to actually start treating them like human beings.
transparency or fairness, or will they continue to double down on rigid control, prioritizing their bottom line over meaningful partnerships? Change might not come quickly, and it might not come willingly, but as long as creators keep speaking up, and as long as audiences keep supporting them, it can happen. And speaking of audiences, let's talk about you for a second. You, the viewer, hold more power than you realize. Every time you click on a video, leave a comment, share content, or support a creator directly, you're making a choice. So here's a message for you. Support creators, not corporations. It's the creators who show up every day, who share their passion, their humor, their frustrations, and their joy with you. Loyalty to a game doesn't mean loyalty to the developers. You can love a game's world, you can love a character and its stories without blindly defending the company that made it. Ask questions, stay critical, and don't be afraid to hold companies accountable.
When Genshin Impact 5.3 fucks you by releasing 2 limited character banners at the start of the patch, and they don't give you the pulls for the patch until the characters are gone. Let me just find it, because this shit actually triggers me so much. Don't support the fucking creators that do shit like this. Because guess what? You are getting fucked by the developers, and a person like this is just helping the developers fuck you even more. That is all they are doing. They are just giving more reasons for the devs to continue fucking you. I cannot believe he did this. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. C6ing the fucking character after you had just talked about how feels not so good this was. Are you on crack? They're talking about, oh, you shouldn't support this. Oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, this is such an unhealthy business. Never mind. Everything's explained. It's all good, ladies and gentlemen. We could just go back to the Glaive video.
At the end of the day, games are supposed to be about fun, creativity, and community. But when corporate greed and control starts overshadowing those values, it's up to the creators and audiences to push back. The relationship between creators and game companies shouldn't feel like walking on a tightrope. It shouldn't feel like creators are one bad day, one wrong tweet, or one stream competitor game away from losing everything they have worked for. Loyalty goes both ways, or at least it should. But as we've seen time and time again, it often doesn't. So whether you're a creator, a viewer, or just someone who loves these games, let Nerumero's story remind you of something important. Creators deserve respect, audiences deserve transparency, and companies, they need to do better. Because if they don't, the creators and communities they rely on might just start looking elsewhere. And honestly, they should. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting creators who speak up, and most importantly, thank you for caring.
All right, so overall, I think Glaive gave a pretty great rundown of the situation. Obviously, going on with Nerumero, he gave a lot of context. Did have a little bit, I think, too much repetition. I think it could have been a solid 8 minutes, not necessarily like the full 11 that we're seeing here. But overall, I think it was like a great rundown of everything, the implications, what pigeonholing yourself into a genre or like a type of content does, what reliance on a company to produce your content will do, and how you really can't be your legitimate self unless you're willing to make some sacrifices on your end, or potentially, right, shift the way that these companies are deciding to do business. Because otherwise, this is what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. This is what is going to happen. The most hypocritical shit in the genre that doesn't lead to really great stuff at all. Thank you, Glaive. Gave you a like. Make sure you guys all check him out. Peace out.